Okay, so this is part two in a multi-part series of how to make a website. So in this video I'll be talking about your domain name and how you choose that. So first of all, you might not know what a domain name is. It might be called a URL as well. Basically it's just your web address, as basically most of you will know. So it could be your domain name for Google would be google.com, or http:// www.google.com. But quite often the www is optional, so you can just do google.com. But what really is, it's kind of like the name of your company in the online world. So it's very important that you get a good one. I'd even recommend getting your domain name reserved before you even start up your own company. But if you say you're trying to promote your band or anything, promote yourself. Obviously, if your name's John Smith, johnsmith.com is going to be taken. So you got to be a bit more creative in how you make your personal website or your band's website. That might be taken, right? So it's very important you get a relevant one, though. But as far as businesses, though, I'd recommend getting your domain name sorted out. Get a business name on the web that makes sense to you, especially if you're doing web marketing or trying to market your business in any way on the web. And then, after you have a good domain name, then you go incorporate your business and make sure that basically that you're able to get that in your wherever you live, and that you can make your company with that certain name, right? It's better to get a domain name that makes sense and it's in line with what you're trying to market on the internet, right? Because if you already have an established business, though, it's better to mimic something close to it in a domain name, because it could get really expensive if you try to buy out people. Because what a lot of people do is they'll just buy hundreds of domain names and then hope that 2 or 3 of them will get bought out by a big company that needs that domain name, right? So they might buy something like gm.com and hope that General Motors one day tries to pick them up, right? But anyway, if you find that your first try and domain name is taken, then it could be just yourcompany.com, right? It's not the end of the world, right? You could either be creative and get a different something.com, or you could just get a different ender to your domain name, right? You could have, if you live in Canada.ca, if you live in the UK.co.uk, or whatever works, because you might think that sounds a bit less professional, right, if it's not .com, but to be honest, if you live in Canada and you get .ca and you're trying to market to people in Canada, then what they're going to see is you are a local business, right? You are catering to Canadians, right? You're not some guy in Bangalore or Bangladesh or whatever, so they'll recognize that as a positive. And on top of that, if you get a .ca, or if you're planning on branching out to many other countries, maybe you could just buy up several enders to your domain name, right? Like, so you could get, say, airplanes.com, right? You could get airplanes.ca, airplanes.whatever, co.uk. Just get for every country you're trying to market to, and then basically you'll appear as a local business to all of them, and you'll have a step up on everyone else. But if your first choice of your URL is taken, then just be creative and just get something that's relevant to what you're going for. But if you're selling flowers, you don't want flowers.com, even though it might sound like the best one. Might be better to have, if you live in Toronto, you get Toronto Flowers or Toronto Flowers Express or something, and really get that message across of what you're trying to sell. As well, if you want a long domain or short domain, it's kind of a debate which one's better. It's easier to remember and easier to type small, short ones, I think, but if it's just like a 3-letter acronym, then who the hell is going to remember that, right? And also, when you're choosing your domain name, don't have like hyphens or anything weird like that in there, and because you don't want people to just mistype it every time, and then they'll actually just get frustrated and go to someone else, right? So you lose a customer that way. But Yeah, be sure you want that exact domain name before you buy it though, because a lot of the guys you buy them from, they'll, once you type it in, and if you screw up, then you screwed. You got to get that. You already paid them for it. So, and if you want that first domain name that you meant to type, then you got to buy it again. So you got to, yes, don't get a typo when you're buying your domain name. Is the long and short of it. Like I already said though in the last video, you can get a lot of web hosting services will give you the domain name included. Some don't. So look into that before doing it. I'd recommend getting Webhost that includes both. The one I said was JustHost. They do include it. And yeah, just look into the first video if you're looking to do Webhost as well. Anyway, thanks for watching.